Hey guys, it's your boy MKS here, back in another video. I was going for a walk, but as I sort of have the house to myself, as I often say, like except for the dog, I have the house to myself. I thought I would make a video using this opportunity. So as I say, I was going to go for a walk and like get some fresh air and think through some ideas, because I've got so many ideas in my mind. But I planned for in July that for every Monday I would cover some of these videos about this strange idea I have, admittedly, in tech. And these are like my dreams for tech, and to make like a one-stop place for all things to do with tech, and to unite African countries, indigenous Africans and Australasians, or even the black diaspora through tech, and hopefully even be a family for the tech industry to like come together. And these are some of my dreams about it. Like, for instance, part of me realizes that it's quite unrealistic, I admit, to sort of have like all the tech industry or every company to do with tech around the world to come together. But hopefully, if they do things like agree to invest in indigenous Africans and Australasians as a part of like reparations or whatever, hopefully they can get those that support. Maybe, and indigenous Africans and Australasians hopefully will lobby for their rights as well, to network together. The main beneficiaries would be the tech giants themselves, I suppose, like the people like Satya Nadella, Sunday Pichai, how we pronounce his name, or people like that at the moment, or even Bill Gates, or people like that, or people who invest in tech, but also the indigenous Africans and Australasians. The idea behind Micro is like, I was thinking, what if there was a company called MicroHard, which was the equivalent of Microsoft, but for hardware instead of software. Obviously both of those, Microsoft and MicroHard, have in common one thing, which is micro, which it would be in both, which would be a word in both of those companies. Anyway, cracking on with my plans for this, for these videos. I did plan to do like 30-point list videos, as I normally do, or as I often do, for these videos. So I thought I'd stick to plan, although I did reconsider a little bit, but I thought I'd stick to plan. Anyway, I'm going to try to stop waffling. So number one, as I say, I would love to unite all possible tech companies around the world. The main beneficiaries would be the big tech owners or investors, or people who invest, basically people who invest in tech, people who own tech companies, people who have some sort of shares or investment in tech or invested into it and that sort of thing. And also indigenous Africans and Australasians working together. Number two, I hope for, as I say, to encourage people to provide opportunities in STEM generally, including tech, especially for indigenous Africans and Australasians or the black diaspora around the world, to sort of network together, and their taxes that they make, like black people who work in tech, their taxes could go back to helping other black people around the world, let's say especially in Africa and Australasia, but also in the UK or US. It could go pumped back into helping those in tech. Number three, a controversial idea. As a capitalist, I'm not a huge fan of, even though I'm a dog-weather, admittedly, I'm not a huge fan of taxes, idealistically. Really, because I think it's a violation of freedom. Like, I think it's forced upon people, to be honest. I know, controversial opinion, as I say, but so I would love for them to be tax exempt. But actually, really, the tax money, the money they make, that they would normally pay in tax, or they do to pay in tax at the moment, could go to supporting, again, indigenous Africans and Australasians or black people around the world, generally, as they were underrepresented. So it would be used for something good, which is what I suppose most people probably say arguably tax should be used for. I know there's two arguments for tax. One is that it helps the poor, and the other argument is that if you didn't have tax, we'd have to build our own roads and schools and hospitals and things like that. So I'd like to think at least it would be used for good rather than wars or things like that. Number four, I forgot to mention in my videos where I was talking about microing. One of the things I'm a bit wary about repeating a lot of ideas I have for that, but any new ideas I have, I suppose I could cover in it would sort of be connected to microing, my idea I talked about last week, but it would sort of be a part of that. But I suppose any ideas I didn't cover in that could be used for this one. But microing is a bit more of a fun sort of idea, perhaps, maybe, and this could be more of a business-sided or serious sort of thing, perhaps. But yeah, one of the things I forgot was to say that even though I'm against war and I abhor war and stuff like that, I think of microing. I spelt it without without a W, MICROING. So it, adding a W, it would be microwing. But I thought what they could do is provide assistance to like militaries to ensure that they, as I say, even though I'm against wars and militarism and things like that, it could be like used as something that would ensure like civilians are not when people go to war, that it ensures that the right targets are hit, so the civilians are protected. As someone who, as I say, abhors war, it would be something that would make sure that, like for instance, if America has like war on, or Britain, obviously, and other countries have the war on terrorism, or even nowadays wars that are going on, it would ensure that civilians, as much as possible, like precision technology, would ensure that civilians, ideally, would ensure that. Obviously, I can't guarantee it, but my ideal is, and my dream is that, or at least one of my dreams, as one of many, is that civilians would be protected from the effects of war. So they, when they target places, they would know that those areas are where, as much as possible, obviously it can't be guaranteed, as I say, even if the tech industry did really try to ensure that civilians were not targeted, it would be hard to guarantee, because civilians could be in areas where there are enemy combatants or terrorists or whatever. Number 5, it would also, I also dream that we would like work together to cut crime through technology, like cybercrime. Again, like I talked about in my videos last week on microing, I talked about as part of microing how we would, like Nigeria could, for instance, which has a bad reputation for cybercrime and things like that, people across Nigeria instead could make a lot of money, hopefully, by, and I think if they found they would make more money this way, obviously money talks, as I say, and the reason why they do it is to make money, but if they actually, instead of being involved in cybercrime, were involved in tackling cybercrime and things like keeping people safe online, even including children safe online, and also people's bank details, so financially and generally safe online. Hope that made sense. So that'd be one of goals and dreams I have as well. And again, changing perceptions and things like that. And yeah, just cutting back on crime, cybercrime, keeping people safe, both financially and in terms of keeping children safe online and things like that, and monitoring potential threats like terrorism or things like that. So basically cutting crime, and like even countries like Somalia, which have a reputation for piratism or things like that, they could be instead, hopefully I would love to fundraise for countries like that, like Somalia, Nigeria, South Africa, and places like that, to be involved in tech, which hopefully will cut crime and have a positive image of Africa. And again, I hope the black diaspora and people of colour generally, and people who are against the far right, potential allies and all that sort of thing, will support Africa as much as possible. I don't know if you can see I'm wearing my MKS top as well, which one of my sisters got me for Christmas, I believe. So sorry if you can't see it. But yeah, so as I say, I'd love to cut back on crime through technology, things like terrorism, things like, again, as well as financial crime and things like child abuse and things like that, to tackle that sort of thing online. Number 6, I know I probably mentioned this quite a few times, so please forgive me again for repeating myself, but I know Italy has a problem with racism, but as a fan of Italian football specifically, like I only support Italy for football really, I would love for a mutual benefit where like Italians had a partnership with Indigenous Africans and even Australasians and other black people around the world, and improve relations, like where black people came to Italy and helped Italians to practice their football, and in return Italians, including those who know about technology especially, or Italians generally, or even Serie A, the Italian league, and even lower leagues like Serie B, Serie C, and so on and so forth, even the grassroots levels, could have YouTube videos, for instance, where they fundraise to raise money for the black diaspora in tech, so it improve relations through hopefully black people around the world supporting Italian football, and to improve like the practice and things like that, and in return Italians supporting black people, improving relations like that through tech. I hope that made sense. I say number 7, I'd love for Celtic. Again, sorry if I'm repeating a lot of ideas from my previous videos. But Celtic to fundraise for supporting African technology and things like that, and supporting Africa generally, and Indigenous Australasians, as I say, especially in STEM and in particular in tech. Number 8, again, I'd love for it to be a family of tech where tech rivals even come together and like share ideas and talk about how tech can make the world hopefully a better place and be positive. Again, changing the perception of Africa, for instance, again, cutting back on crime and all sorts of things like that. Number 9, I would love to hear from people from the tech industry about whether this idea would excite them, what would convince them to be part of this initiative and network and things like that, which I suppose is what it would be, a family network of tech, if you like, for want of a better way of putting it. But I'd love to hear from the people involved in tech what your ideas are. and things like that. And I'd love to hear from anyone who has any comments, generally, again, or any questions or anything like that. And number 10, I especially love to support young people. I think this is, I chose this mug partly because I think it's quite fitting, like talking about supporting African game makers. You can't see that's like a minion mug. But yeah, so I think it'd be great to support young people, especially Indigenous Africans and Australians, or black people generally, in tech. And I'm going to go for a walk, and I'm out. Peace and love.